من بعد ما شفت طرق مختلفة جدا في الطبخ عالميا ومحليا، زاد اشتهائي أكتر إن أعرف الأكل ده كله جاي منين. فعشان كده بدأت رحلتي إن أنا أروح وأزور منتجين المواد الغذائية في بريطانيا وحول العالم. وبدأت الرحلة من هنا من لندن عشان أروح أشوف حاجة جديدة اسمها البحث عن الطعام أو التعايش مع الطبيعة، واللي هنشوفها النهاردة إن أنت إزاي تطلع من الطبيعة أكلات. وحان الآن موعد الجولات مع ميكو.
Nice to meet you, Miko.
Miko.
Eric.
Miko.
Sure, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Hi guys, how you doing?
Yeah, pretty good.
First of all, what are we doing today?
Right. Okay. Well, we're going to go foraging. We're going to learn a little bit about wild food in the UK. So
I'm up for it. Let's do it.
good stuff. Right, I'll tell you a few bits and bobs about what we can and can't do first, because there's rules to foraging.
Okay.
But first of all, we go foraging for food purposes, not survival purposes. We go out looking for nice plants that taste good. So that's the first thing. You know, there's lots of plants around that we'll maybe talk about, maybe walk past. Loads of edible things that just don't taste good. So we're after, today anyway, we're after the things that really taste good. So before we get going, what we're going to do on the walk is we're going to identify lots of plants and some mushrooms, but there's a couple of plants that are really, really lovely that we're not going to find on the walk today. So we pre-picked one for you just to have a little taste. It's one of the best plants that you get in British nature. If you want to have a taste of this, we like to give this to people at the beginning because it's a bit of a palate cleanser, you know, it'll clean out your mouth for everything else that we eat afterwards. Now, this is a plant called wood sorrel, and it's a 3-leaf plant, and you can see it's got 3 heart-shaped leaves.
Beautiful.
And what's good about this plant, because of those heart-shaped leaves, is that it's unique in British nature, you know. When you're out foraging, there's lots of poisonous plants. We're going to show you some of those today.
Oh, wow.
And there's obviously lots of poisonous mushrooms.
Okay.
So what we teach people as kind of novice foragers is the ones that you can pick very, very safely. And this is one that you can pick very, very safely. The only plant in the UK that has 3 heart-shaped leaves like this is wood sorrel. If I give you these to have a little taste, just to make you feel safe,
No, it's okay. I'm safe already. Well.
Now,
I like
what do you think?
Yeah.
What sort of flavours are you getting there?
It's a bit soury.
Yeah, definitely sour. Maybe
No.
apple peel.
Yeah.
This is one that grows everywhere in the UK. Any bit of woodland. We're not going to be spending too much time in woodland today.
But you don't wash it. Like for example, I'm walking like this in the street. I found this. I make like this. Bam, bam.
Yeah, why not? Don't pick from posts and corners where, you know, we have lots of dogs in Britain. So you try and stay away from the lamp posts,
Yeah,
don't pick
of
them
course.
around those.
But other than that, it's cool.
Yeah.
Why
good.
are they not using it in the British market?
Only in the finest restaurants, though.
Okay.
In you know, foraging and wild food has become very popular in Britain in the last 10 years, and this is something that you don't find in greengrocers, but you do find this in all of the Michelin-star restaurants. They use maybe 2. You know what you just ate there?
Yeah.
A little handful. In restaurants, they use maybe 2 or 3 and just use them as a garnish on a plate.
Nice.
And they pay a fortune for this.
Yeah, I don't want to pay fortune.
Clearly, it doesn't cost anything.
No. But very nice.
It's one of our favourite plants, so we're going to be using the rest of these in the meal that we're going to have at the end.
Okay.
So should we go and see what else we can pick?
Yeah, before it rains now. Welcome to Britain. That's why I got my sunglasses.
Oh, you're very hopeful. I hope you get to use them. All of the hedgerow along here, and this is a plant us foragers love. It's a really nice one to talk about because it's a plant that's got a few different uses. First of all, in spring the leaves are perfectly edible.
Really?
Yeah, tiny bit bitter, but they're very, very useful in a salad. You know, in a salad, if you put a nice sweet balsamic and olive oil dressing on things, the bitterness goes, so you get a nice tasty salad. And that's great. You know, in spring, we know that our ancestors would have eaten this plant for hundreds of thousands of years in Britain because it was one of our ancient natural trees. And the leaves that you're eating there, they're actually the best blood pressure regulator we know of in British nature. So if you have any blood pressure issues, this is a tasty plant, and it's also a really, really healthy plant to eat as well.
That's why I wonder why all of these leaves are not in our dishes these days.
This one, you know, this one isn't one that we find on restaurant menus, but the berries that you get on this bush are. Because the berries that come on this bush in September, they've got something called pectin in them, and they've got more pectin in them than any other fruit in the UK. So what pectin's used for is to set jams and fruit leathers, to help the jam solidify, you know, otherwise you end up with a runny syrup.
Yeah.
Unless you've got pectin in, you don't have a jam.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, making the base of it. So basically use everything around you to your advantage.
If we can, not everything, no.
Trust me, you're doing better than me.
If you know anyone with high blood pressure or any circulatory issues, you know, get them eating hawthorn, and it's something that they can eat alongside all of their medication and it doesn't interfere. It's just good for you, really good. I mean, we've tasted a few leaves so far, but I don't know if you can see what's coming up. We don't just go foraging for leaves in Britain. We get lots of these, lots of mushrooms. Come up at different times of year. You know, in spring, it's spring at the moment, and you don't get many mushrooms in spring. You get these, St George's mushrooms. In Britain, St George's Day is the 23rd of April. And these mushrooms come up around St George's Day, so they have the name St George's mushrooms.
Oh.
And they always grow in a ring. You can see you've got a little clump there, some more little babies there, some more growing here, and another little clump there. And these, Miko, these are a gourmet mushroom. They're about as good as mushrooms get in the UK. You know, in restaurants, you don't really get these in markets, but you get them in restaurants. And restaurants pay maybe 25, 30 pounds a kilo for these mushrooms. So
no way.
Very expensive. Not quite as expensive as saffron, but you know, they're getting way to being. Thing with mushrooms is though, you've got to be 100% sure that you're picking the right thing. With these mushrooms, it's quite easy. These are a safe one for even beginner foragers, you know, people that haven't been out too much, to pick, because first of all, they're growing now, just after St George's Day. You know, it's the middle of May now, so it's about 3 weeks after St George's Day, but they come up around the 23rd of April. Not many mushrooms do.
No.
Second thing, they're growing in grassland and not in the woods. You can possibly see the grass in this ring is a little bit longer and lusher and greener.
Yeah.
Little one under there. And that's because the mushrooms underground grow in a ring and they feed the grass. They make the grass grow bigger and taller.
Kind of fertilizing as well at the same time.
Exactly, because the mushrooms can't create their own food. They latch onto the grass, they feed the grass, make it big and strong, and then in return they take sugars from the grass. Now, if we get down, I'll show you a few more features. If I just cut this one here. The reason we cut it is because it does less damage to the mushroom underground. You know, the organism itself, it lives underground, and if you cut the mushroom, it just does a little bit less damage. The third thing is that this mushroom is almost all flesh. You can see the gills. You know, the gills are these bits under here, where the spores come out of, but the gills are tiny. Almost all of this mushroom is flesh. And then the fourth thing is the smell. It's got a very distinctive smell amongst mushrooms, so hopefully, if you have a smell of that, it doesn't smell like a normal mushroom.
No.
Not particularly nice, you know, not a wonderful...
It's a bit dry and wet in the same time.
Yes, it does. It smells, well, it is very fresh. We've just picked it. These are going to make up a nice part of our meal today when we eat at the end.
I can't wait.
We'll give them a bit of a wash. But we're just going to collect this little group quickly. These ones go very, very well in stews and pastas and, you know, stir fries. So we don't just fry them with butter because they're almost too strong, you know, a bit too intense. I used to run a web development company doing websites in London, but this was a hobby. I decided that my hobby was more fun than making websites, you know. Now.
ان انا اتخدعت. انا كنت هي مش خدعه اصلا. انا كنت بحسب نفسي في ويلز زي ما انا قلت لكم في اول حلقه، زي ما قالوا لي وسالتهم وقالوا لي وطلع الموضوع كذب طبعا. انا مش في ويلز. سالنا مدير التسويق بتاعنا احنا فين، قال لك في ويلز واحنا مش في ويلز اصلا. واحنا هنا فين؟ قالوا لي انجلترا. قلت لهم انجلترا؟ امال فين ويلز؟ قالوا لي ويلز بعد الجبل اللي هناك ده. هي بس بعد الجبل والتاني يخليني يعني انا كل ده وما سافرتش. انا عايز اسافر. يلا بينا.
It's okay. They have the same plants and mushrooms in Wales though. Everything we teach you today is the same across the board. Okay, well this is one of our favourite plants as foragers. This is hogweed, and we've managed to get this plant onto some Michelin star menus. We think it's one of the tastiest plants that grows in British nature, and it's this one here. You can see these are all the young plant. The plant, when it's mature, it will grow to 2 metres tall. It will grow a big flower stem come out the middle. But this is the young plant, and we're going to pick a few to take home and try.
Wow.
Because we can't eat this plant raw. As a raw plant, it's a bit of an irritant. It would irritate your mouth and your throat. But these we make hogweed fritters out of, and we make soups and different things. But what we do with this plant, we're going to do it a few different ways when we get back to the venue where we're going to have some food. But we've already made you some soup out of this plant. So this soup is made out of this plant and wild garlic, which we're going to show you in a minute. And
that's a real soup.
Another plant called burdock. Yeah, so it'll be quite hot, so you might want to blow it. Yeah.
جماعة من الآخر زي الملوخية. I quite like it.
We've had this plant tasted by the London Food Room Library, and the curator there said that the flavour of this plant was unique. She'd never tasted anything that tasted like this plant in any of her travels. The leaves, which a large part of this soup is the leaves, have a unique flavour that she'd never tasted anywhere else before. It grows everywhere. It's a very, very common plant.
And you never use it.
And it's very, very tasty. There you go. Well, cheers.
Cheers. I like your soup.
Good
It's
stuff.
fantastic, man.
We do too. All of these white flowers, they're coming from this plant. Now, if you just screw up that leaf and have a smell, you have to crush it a little bit to get the smell.
Okay. Why I can even smell a lot of garlic in my way coming here.
Well, that's one of the key identifiers of this plant.
But this is not. This is like more of like kind of green onions.
Yeah, it's in the chive family.
Yeah.
It's got a very garlicky flavour, but mild. So that leaf that you've got, if you just have a nibble,
Yeah.
you know, if you were to eat raw garlic, it would be far too much. But this is a garlic flavour, not too strong. This is our favourite plant. We call this plant the star of spring. It comes out in spring.
And it's quite sugary as well.
Absolutely, it's sweet. It's a nice tasting plant. That's the garlic level 1 though, because there's kind of 3 or 4 stages to this plant, and it gets stronger as the plant matures. Now, if I find a flower bud that's not fully open yet, here we go. Now, I'll eat one as well.
Okay.
So these are the flower buds, not fully open, and the flavour is about 5 times as strong. So,
Okay.
you take that. I'll take that. It takes a little while, but after a few seconds you start to get a real pepperiness, a heat, like almost like raw garlic. It's a plant that we love as a flavouring, you know, there's not many things I like better than garlic. It's another one of those really healthy plants. This one, we know science has proved now that it's really good for high blood pressure, so if you suffer from high blood pressure, it's good to eat as much wild garlic as you can. And we're going to collect a little bit of this because a part of the meal that we're going to have at the end is going to be wild garlic based. You're likely to find wild garlic alongside it somewhere because it likes to be beside rivers. And
it's all natural. That's all natural, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. None of this has been planted. This has been grown here for centuries. And as long as we don't take too much, it will keep coming back. The flowers get stronger as they open, so if you eat that one, it will be stronger than the one you had before because it's fully open. And then after the flowers drop off, you get a little seed pod. on every single one of these, and every one of those seed pods tastes as strong as the flower. So the strength of the flavour gets more and more and more as the plant grows and gets more mature.
طلعنا كل الزرع من كل حته وجربنا نشوف كل حاجه ممكن تتاكل او ما تتاكلش من الطبيعه. كمان حبينا نوريها لكم على طريقه الطبخ كمان ازاي هنطبخها، ومعانا الناس دي كلها النهارده جايين معانا كده كلهم واخدين نفس عميق وهيشرحوا لنا what's gonna happen today.
Oh, we're going to make a bit of food out of what we found. We're going to do a few different things. All these things are nice and quick and easy to make. We're kind of relying on the flavours of the plants and the mushrooms doing the work for us. You know, there's not too much chefing to do when you've got all these lovely ingredients. So we're going to start with Eric making some wild garlic pesto with the wild garlic that we found earlier on. And that's a nice sweet treat. And then
first of all, the wild garlic that you helped us pick.
Which is the leaf.
Just the leaves,
it was the leaf
flowers.
and the flower.
Yeah. What we're going to do, just a small pesto. So that's what I'd call 2 handfuls of leaves, 1 handful of hazelnuts. They're not around at the moment. About a handful of Parmesan cheese. And then, I don't know if you remember the wood sorrel from the beginning.
It's the tastiest.
We're going to use that instead of lemon. A bit of seasoning and then a lot of olive oil. We'll start doing it. First of all, just going to chop up the garlic. That should be fine enough for the mixer to work on.
Okay.
I mix the ingredients together. So put the nuts in, the wood sorrel, and then all the cheese. A little bit of salt and pepper.
Yeah. Achoo. No, not yet.
And here's the surprising part, how much olive oil goes into pesto. Quite a lot.
You know, I drink olive oil, so I don't mind.
One for luck, yeah. Now, unfortunately, I can't forage electricity out here, so I'm going to use the mixer. I'm going to go in and mix this up, and I'll come back and... OK, well, I'll hand over to whoever's cooking next.
Okay,
I'll go and mix it.
Okay, I'm with Stuart now.
So we got some hogweed earlier that I just blanched off. So as you can feel, it's quite nice and tender, yeah?
Yeah.
Still got a little bit of stiffness to it. Here's one I made earlier. This is our beer batter that I made from locally sourced beer, just with a little bit of turmeric in it. Just gives a little bit more flavour,
I love
a
turmeric.
little bit more colour, yeah? Oil that up to a nice hot temperature. What we'll do is we'll... beer batter is one of those traditional British kind of things. Actually, this is kind of new to me, using the foraged
It's like carnavit.
things that we have today. Gives it a lovely crispiness.
Yeah. Oh my God! And look at the color. Oh. Wow. It's like calamari.
Absolutely. So I'll get some of the comfrey. Just roll it up nice and tight, otherwise we're probably going to lose the shape of it in the batter. Yeah, we'll give them both a little bit of a try. So I'll be honest, these are probably going to be about ready to serve up.
They're so quick. It won't take.
30 seconds. There you go. There you go. Look at that.
There you go.
30
Don't eat
seconds.
them yet, they'll be far too hot. We're going to come back to them in a minute. Get the pan heating up. Right, just a little bit of the butter heating up there. And what we're going to do, we didn't forage the onion, you know, we don't go foraging for survival reasons. We go foraging to enhance our diet and make things nicer, and onions are something that we use in quite a lot of our food anyway. Foraged food probably only makes up maybe 20% of our diet. We know all the wild plants and all the tasty things that you can eat, but there's still plenty that we buy from the shops. You saw the Parmesan going in the pesto,
The olive oil.
and the olive oil. There we go, just to get the mushrooms browning off a little bit. Right, now we've got here the St George's mushrooms that we picked on the way
Yeah.
around. Just gonna clean off any
Mud on it.
little bits of mud. We don't mind too much. And we're going to slice these mushrooms quite thin because they're going into a pancake, so we don't want them to be all too big and chunky.
No, but you know, all of these leaves and veggie we tasted today,
Yeah.
we ate them without washing. Is it not
Yeah,
bad
I
for
mean,
you?
well, you know, all the vegetables you buy in the shops, they were grown in fields somewhere. All we worry about is heating things up enough to make sure that we're killing any bugs that are on them. You know, the more that you get exposed to certain different bugs in a mild environment, the more your own immune system is gonna become stronger and make you able to deal with those bugs. So we've got those mushrooms just about cooking. Yes, certainly. And a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper.
And a little bit of anything else?
Why don't we chuck a little bit of the wild garlic in because it won't make it any worse. Just for a bit of extra garlic
You
flavour.
can't go wrong when it comes to garlic.
No, garlic's one of my favourite things. Does make you smell a little bit, but if anyone can't stand the smell, then they're not the kind of person I want to hang around with.
Yeah.
So we get that back on the heat and just get those mushrooms browning off. And in the meantime, we'll start on the garlic pancakes. And all you do for garlic pancakes is basically make a sort of
Garlic pancakes.
garlic omelette.
يمين أكلات وشمال أكلات، كل حتة في أكلات، كل حتة.
Right.
I was saying there is food everywhere.
For any good pancake, you start off with a decent knob of butter.
Look at this, look at this, look at this. This is what it's magic.
That's all good. Yeah, that is looking rather good. Get the garlic in here. Just a few bits because it'll be one pancake at a time. Now, whilst that butter is melting slowly, all this now needs is a tiny bit of modern technology and some cream. Now, what we've got here is just a mushroom stock cube. It just adds to the flavour. It makes things taste a little bit nicer. We're not going to use a lot of it. And then once that's mixed around a little bit, we want to take it off the heat because we don't want to add the cream to it whilst it's on the heat. That would curdle the cream, it'd make it all kind of bitty and not very nice. So I think off the heat. Now we'll give that another second or two as well. Right, now that's bubbling. Let's have a go at these pancakes. That's a little bit more, tiny bit more, and then that's it. Because it's savoury pancake, you want it to be a little bit thicker. And once it's fried off enough, I'll take this off the heat.
طبعا انا عندي تحدي صغير ان انا اطلع البانكيك لان انا قلت له انا اطير ارض جو بحر في اي حته بانكيك يعني.
Really?
وبان عليا يعتلهم.
You sure?
No.
Oh, look at this man! Fantastic. We'd prefer it to still stay in one piece though, so you know, I think 2 times was enough.
Okay guys, that was it. Well, did you see how far it went? I told you I'm a big tosser, you didn't believe me.
Right, this is a Miko pancake, slightly different to a normal pancake.
Yeah.
In that it comes in many pieces, but it's still just as tasty, so it doesn't matter. And that is your foraged dinner for today.
I'm so happy to pick all of this with you guys, obviously with the help of you, and what you've done today is unbelievably amazing because I wouldn't know this in my own, obviously, and the public wouldn't know this in their own.
It's what we like to do. We want to share this knowledge, you know, it shouldn't be a secret, it shouldn't be...
Especially when it tastes like this. To be honest, from how much, you know, like, you guys did for me today, I feel that I had enough of you and I would like to spend some time with the nature.
Yeah?
No, excellent. I'm honestly thankful for everything and I just would like to enjoy my food a bit in my own.
Okay,
Okay.
enjoy.
Thanks, Miko.
طعم الأكل رهيب بجد رهيب رغم إن هي حاجات بسيطة من حياتنا ومن حوالين الجنينة واحنا ماشيين بس غيرت الموضوع تماما تماما. يا جماعه اوصيكم والله قضوا شويه وقت مع الطبيعه، وقت صغير بس. فكروا في اكلكم اللي بيجي لكم ده بيجي لكم منين؟ حاولوا ازاي تطوروه، ازاي تحافظوا عليه. طبيعه ورقول ستارتس لما كله بدا من هنا اصلا. انتوا ليه لسه قاعدين هنا اصلا؟ انا مش قلت لهم عايز انا لوحدي وابقى بتكلم مع النيتشر وكده والطبيعه؟ ما تسيبونا بقى، يلا.